Hi, welcome back to Hacienda Homestead. I'm Jenna, and today we're going to do the second episode in my series of baking bagels, and today we're going to make cinnamon sugar bagels. To my stand mixer, I'm going to add 2 1/4 cup of warm water, one and a half tablespoons of yeast, and 1 tablespoon of sugar. Then I'm going to just mix this up. And I'm going to wait 5 to 10 minutes until the yeast activates and gets foamy. As you can see, our yeast is activated and it's nice and bubbly. And to our yeast, now we're going to add 5 1/2 to 6 cups of flour. So I always start on the low end, and I'll do 5 1/2. And then if I need more, once I start kneading it, I will add more. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5 and 1/2. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Then I'm going to knead my dough for roughly 10 minutes until it starts pulling from the sides and has made a nice ball. I'm going to stop it right here so I won't have to talk over the mixer. So I can tell by looking and feeling of my dough that it is still very wet and sticky. So I'm going to slowly incorporate some of the flour until it pulls from the sides and makes more of a ball. Our dough has kneaded for 10 minutes. So now I'm just going to take it out of my mixer. And turn it onto a clean counter. The dough is still sticky, so I'm just going to sprinkle some flour over it, turn it over, there we go. And now the recipe calls to divide it into 8 bagels, or 8 pieces. I've made this before and it makes really big bagels. So if you like really big bagels, go ahead and divide it into 8 pieces. I'm going to divide this one into 10 because I want them to be a little bit smaller. You can always weigh each individual piece out with a kitchen scale. I don't do that. I just tend to eyeball it. I make a long log like this. And then I just kind of score it. That gave me 6. And that gave me 6. So I'm gonna have 12 bagels in all. And so now we're just going to cut them through. And I'm just going to cover them with a tea towel, and I'm going to let them rest for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to come back and start shaping my bagels. Our bagel pieces have rested for 5 minutes. Now I'm going to start making them into the shape that I want, bagel shape, obviously. So this is how I do it. And then I just poke a hole in the middle, go around with my hands, make the hole a little bit bigger. There we go. And I'm putting them onto my sheet pan with parchment paper. I went ahead, that end was still a little bit bigger than what I wanted, so I cut it a little and I added it to my end that I wanted to be bigger. So, and I'm just going to do this with all of them. Okay, this is our last one. So here's all my bagels. As you can see, they're not all perfect. Like I said before, I have a friend that says they're rustic, which I'll go with that. So now I'm going to cover them and let them rise for 30 minutes. Our bagels are done rising. So what I did here is I brought some water to a boil and I added just about a tablespoon of honey, and you want to boil each bagel for roughly 25 seconds on each side, and then I lay them out on a tea towel to kind of dry off before I put them back on my parchment paper. Now I'm going to transfer my bagels from my tea towel back onto my parchment paper in my sheet pan. I have all my bagels transferred back onto my sheet pans with parchment paper. I had to use a small one for some of them, so I'm gonna crack an egg and whisk it up. And then I'm just gonna brush this onto my bagels. And this will make them nice and brown. All of our bagels have been topped with the egg wash, and now I'm going to add some cinnamon and sugar to the top of them. I keep this in my pantry already mixed up for when my kids want French toast or cinnamon toast. So I'm just gonna sprinkle that over the tops of all of them. Now they've all got cinnamon sugar on them. And I'm going to pop them in the oven. Again, the oven is set at 400. It's preheated to 400. And I'm going to keep them in there they're gonna bake for 25 to 30 minutes. At the 15-minute mark, I'm going to throw some foil over the tops of them so that they don't get too brown on top before they finish cooking inside. Our bagels are ready to come out of the oven. They look really good. So I'm just going to transfer these onto a cooling rack, and then I will be back to show you the finished product. The cinnamon sugar bagels that I made today, I actually sold. So I just packaged them up and then put a nice little label on them that said cinnamon sugar bagels. Please subscribe to the channel, especially if you like the bagels. I'm doing a bagel series where I make, once a week, I'm going to be making a different kind of bagel. And I'll see you next time.